So a long time ago, I read this book by the name. I only can think of the author's name right now. It's Rick Snowman, a guide to. I think this is the title. Okay, as I said, I don't know. I just know the author, and but the main topic I want to talk about in this, hopefully, if it's a short video, is how to have huge bass in your music. Okay, let me talk to you people about a sine wave. A sine wave basically has no frequencies that are high in frequency. Sine waves, if you would build your, okay, say for example, if you focus, depending on how slow or how fast the kick drum is going in fighting against the snare is the high frequency that it has a certain color. The bass is a low frequency that has a certain color. So when you make your music, always try to put your snare to the last, because it's a higher frequency on the scale, and that's how pianos were built, in their higher frequencies, until you can learn how to rotate frequencies on the screen. And when you learn how to rotate frequencies on the screen, you'll learn how to identify the colors of frequencies, the color of electricity, how hot, how cold, how warm, how cool a signal is. So I used to make a lot of music growing up. I started off I did start off playing the drums. I got a keyboard. My parents very educated me in music through their finance. They paid for it. Okay, so back to how do you have a lot of bass, okay? If you want a lot of bass in your music, you have to learn how to rotate the signal in the middle frequency range that can have a good no distorted signal, but only at certain timings. So what I mean by that is, say for example, you had a cutoff filter, a cutoff frequency filter that only cut off higher frequencies in the middle frequency range, the higher, and you learn how to rotate it back up and down until you get a signal that looks like this on the screen. It goes like this, right? For like on a 1 second range where you can monitor the milliseconds on there. So you do not want to have high frequencies fighting with the kick drum, especially like, you want your clap to sound loud, but claps and snares are already loud signals in general. So 75% of the high frequencies should be 75% on a scale between 1% to 100%. It should be 75% that you should have in your middle frequency range of high frequencies. Only 25% of your middle frequencies should be bass. In the rest of the middle frequencies, it's your picture. The middle frequencies, and we'll get back to the bass, how to have big bass. The middle frequencies is the picture, people. Is where do you find color? Okay? When you were born, you did not know how to walk on your feet. So what makes you think you're going to know the color theory of bass and treble? And people, I'm telling you, this does come from my brain, my body, my experience. So I think the max frequency of bass on a frequency scale of 1 to 25,000 hertz would be 250 hertz. Okay, so between 250 hertz to 3,000 hertz, you should be okay, maybe when I mean 3,000, I mean 3,000 is the max. Okay, what I mean by 3,000, 3 kilohertz is the max you should be playing with your picture. So say you're making your song on a sequencer where you can monitor the frequency range with a spectrum where it can monitor electricity, and you learned how these frequencies work. Okay? Because if you divide it by 2 and look at 3 as your golden number and 4 your max, okay, you will understand that you want to focus on the middle frequencies only for a little bit of time. Only focus on the middle frequencies 25% at a time, 25% of the time out of 100%, and focus on bass and treble 75%. So yes, majority of the time does go to bass and treble and not the middle frequencies, okay? Because when you make a song, the idea is to get it out quickly and fast so that you can understand how to level out and understand when to stop making music and when you can give your brain a rest and your hearing a rest, because every person has a different music theory idea. So you want big bass. You gotta to have big bass, people. You cut out all the high frequencies, okay, and learn how to rotate the bass at the bottom of the spectrum field. You learn how to rotate the bass like the world. You'll learn how to stab the bass with higher frequencies. So when you stab the bass with higher frequencies,